Well, thank you for staying with us on the AM show. And by us, I mean us, because guess who's back? Sweetie Abochi. I've been getting some commentary on your dresses and the way you look. People say you sparkle on air like you are in-house, out of house. What is your secret?
I don't know. I think I just got it. I just got it like that.
Hey, Charlie. I thought you would even say God's grace or something just like.
Oh, but I just
ain't nobody knows swagger like us. Remember that song?
Maybe I don't know.
Swagger like us. Oh, you don't remember that song? Swagger like us. T.I.
You're doing that thing again. You're bringing a song that I probably know, but I don't know who.
Swagger like us is 20 what? It's like T.I., Kanye West, Jay-Z, Swagger like us, Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Also, sometimes people don't know we know these genres and all of that.
Because we are hardcore, serious.
Yeah. I've told you that if I weren't a broadcaster, I'd probably be a rapper.
Okay. Congratulations in advance.
Manifest level.
That's why
a fusion of manifest and obede pombede. But let's get into the more serious stuff. We'll be interacting shortly with Dr. John Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, a CDD fellow, and it's all about the legacy of Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, the former, now we can say that, majority leader. And he's been there for a long time. We're going to look at some of what he supervised, the outstanding or the relevant issues, and what his legacy really is. We'll also look at the situation in Parliament currently in respect of what exactly has happened and the shake-up and what it means. Joining us shortly for a conversation on that, Dr. John Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu. He is a CDD fellow. He will be joining us shortly for a conversation. Do we have Dr. Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu on the line?
Yes. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, Doc. And it's good to have you join the conversation. I know the circumstances are a bit tricky this morning, so we're grateful that you've still made the time to join us. Right. Let's go straight for it. First off, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu. I believe when you take away Speaker Bagbin, he's the next in line in terms of longevity in Parliament. What would you say as initial comments about Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu in terms of what he's represented? We'll talk about his legacy later, but what has he represented? What are some of the things that come to your mind when you contemplate the former majority leader?
Thank you very much. I think for me, he sort of symbolized the institution of Parliament, right? When you think of the Fourth Republic and Ghana's Parliament, especially given how long he served in the institution, he became a household name in Parliament.
Right.
And whether his party was in the majority or whether his party was in the minority, he also played a very significant leadership role in the party. So for me, any time I think of the Honorable Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, his name became synonymous with the Parliament of Ghana, whether as a minority leader or whether as a majority leader.
And we've put a question out there that I'm putting to all Ghanaians. You can share with us when we activate the phone lines, but you can also share via the live stream on Facebook. What is that one thing you would remember Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu for as majority leader? Would you like to share any thoughts on that?
For me, I think one of the things that I would always remember him for is his dedication to his party's agenda in Parliament. He never wavered. He was always a strong advocate for whether his party was in the majority or whether his party was in the minority, that you always could tell that the interests of the party and ensuring that the party had a voice in parliamentary affairs was always prominent. And I think for me that is what I would always remember about him. He also was a master of the rules. And I think it comes with longevity, right? That you could tell that he really understood the parliamentary rules, the parliamentary procedures. He every so often would, pick out, the standing orders, especially when the debate was getting heated or when he didn't think that the procedure was being followed. That you could always count on him, to pull the standing orders and read it with his old school look, typical sort of like headmaster look that seems to be saying, okay, fine, let's go back to the same Emrani check. Was sort of how I would couch his demeanor whenever he would want to read the standing orders. Yes.
Well, let's contemplate some other angles. You look at his longevity in Parliament. He stamped his authority, whether leading from the back or leading from the front. But I would like us now to look at this latest incident in terms of the reshuffle and everything that has happened in between. If you look at some of what was said, for example, by Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, the first deputy speaker, when this matter came up, this is what he had to say. He said, and let me just try and get the exact wording so that I don't stray into anything else. This is what he had to say initially when there was talk about it, and some members of parliament even came out to speak about it. He said, the majority caucus has not made any changes to its leadership. Emphatic. 2, the majority caucus has not contemplated making any changes to its leadership. Emphatic. In fact, not only have we not made changes, 2, we have not even thought of, contemplated making any changes. And 3, such publications should be ignored. And 4, even more tellingly, he says, the status quo shall remain. In legal terms, when shall is used, it means it is definitive. There's nothing else that can be done. And these are lawmakers. That's why I'm referencing the law. But yet, we see all of what we've seen. And the picture is being painted that all is well, but people within the party feel all is not well and that this could create further friction moving forward. What do you make of that? Before we even look at other angles, what do you make of that specific issue?
Yes. So it was a bit odd because, as you rightly said, at the beginning of the week there was the news stories, the speculations that some changes were imminent and that the Honorable Majority Leader was on his way out. Then there was the press conference by the Honorable Osei, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, when I heard that, and I said, well, maybe this is just mere speculation that if the first deputy, Majority Leader is coming out to say that there's nothing to it and that, forget it, leadership is not even contemplating, the caucus is not even contemplating any changes. And I said, well, maybe, he's coming from the inside and therefore he really knows, what the situation is and therefore we can, quote unquote, discount the story. And then I think within 24 hours, no more than 24 hours later, the news breaks that the Honorable Majority Leader has resigned. So I found it an odd sequence of events, an odd sequence of events. So as to what really occasioned it and what the backstory is and what the inside story is, that I think I don't know. I'm not privy to it, but it was just an odd sequence of events. For me, usually with these things, what creates the friction is not necessarily the decision that has been made, but more how you manage the post-decision phase of it, right? So, whatever decision it's been made, he's no longer majority leader, right? But it lingers and it creates further friction if it is not managed well in terms of if there were dissenting voices around the issue, if there were some legitimate grievances about the decision, and those are not managed well to say, look, we understand all of these divergent views, we understand all of these mixed feelings about it, but can we put the interests of the party at heart? That, for me, is what becomes key when such decisions are made that may not have, the full support or backing of different voices within the party.
Right. So, Dr. Kwapong, would you say that all is well in the NPP? Because this morning, the Daily Graphic described it as a marathon meeting that had even the president in there before this news came out that he's willingly resigning. So, although we do not know for sure what's happening, does this tell us anything about how the NPP is doing right now?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't stretch it as far as to say that it is an indication that all may not be well, in the party. I mean, these issues every so often do come up where, internal party politics comes with all its own, its own challenges. And so I don't think I would stretch it as far as saying it is a sign of something bigger than what we are seeing. Or at least let me say that I hope it's not a sign of something bigger than it really is.
Right. So whether it's a cohesion or willingly resigning, nobody really knows yet.
Right. And for me, right, whatever occasioned it or didn't occasion it, my biggest concern would be what happens from the hereafter. Because like I always say, parties would come, would experience these moments where, certain unpopular decisions or actions or things would happen that may not please everybody in the party. What is very critical is when those things happen, how do you manage it moving forward, especially in an election year when you are no more than 9 months from an election where party unity is very critical. That you don't want to do things or you don't want things to happen that the fallout of it can chip away at party unity. And so I am hoping that whether it was willing or unwilling or whatever occasioned the resignation of the Honorable Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, he's still a very, for me, key figure, a key voice, in the party. He's going to play a very integral role in the campaign of Dr. Bawumia. And I'm just hoping that they will be able to smoothen whatever differences may have occasioned that decision for him to leave the majority role. Because in an election year, the last thing you want is the slightest chip at party unity. You want your entire, party united behind everything that the party is doing going into an election.
Question though is, Doc, could this injure the party, or would it rather, it's time will tell whether it will injure or aid the party. But you look at the NDC, for example, they gave themselves time to do this. They did it last year. The NPP has done it how many months to an election, and some people are saying, no, the timing was wrong and all that. From where you sit, what do you see? What is your reading?
Oh, I don't believe this is going to hurt the electoral fortunes of the party, right? Especially if I look at someone like Honorable Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu. I don't see him going out to sort of put his own personal feelings and own personal interests above the party's interests, right? I think he would serve his he would remain in Parliament the rest of the time he has. I think he would serve his role on the manifesto committee for Dr. Bawumia, and I don't think he would do anything. Because sometimes it is the person who has felt the most aggrieved, and how they respond is what would send all of the signals to everybody else in terms of this is how we should respond so we don't injure the party. And I don't see him engaging in the kind of internal politics that would hurt the interests of the party.
Well, since we are talking about the legacy of Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, what I'm curious about is some of the things, the topical issues in Parliament and his role in it. For example, the LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ bill in Parliament. Would you say that the majority speaker did his best for the passage of that bill or the blockage of it?
That bill, and I don't know how high or not it was on the policy agenda, of of the party. It's slowly making its way through it, but perhaps there were other issues that were prioritized. But I just don't know how much of the weight he was willing to put behind it, not because maybe he is not in support of the legislation, but other things took priority in terms of the legislative, agenda. And it's the nature of the bill is such that if you listen to, how it's, or if you've observed how it's even trying to make its way to Parliament, I think it's one of those issues that was just not going to happen, overnight. And for a majority, leader, I didn't see him more at the forefront of it for whatever reason. You can think of all of the other hot button issues that,
right.
surface during this time. For example, like the e-levy, for example, which he helped with its passage. So I'm not sure with the LGBTQ plus legislation what happened with that, and why that didn't sort of engage the energies as much as other legislation.
Right. So we can say that he was a party guy and party man. His decisions and contributions always reflected the MPP's interest. Would you say?
Oh yes, definitely. He is one person that you always knew he had the party's interest at heart in Parliament and would do anything, in terms of shepherding through or making sure that a particular legislation would go through. He really was a voice and a face for the party in Parliament. And he did that even when he was not majority leader. And that for me is one of the things that I would always remember him for, how he always made sure that he spoke on behalf and pushed the party's interest in Parliament.
How much will he be missed, do you think?
Oh, I'm sure he'll be missed. I'm sure he even has, friends, colleagues across there. When you've served in an institution for that long, you become, you tend to embody a lot of things about the institution, right? Institutional knowledge, the history of the institution, the procedures, the rules, and then you also develop lifelong friendships across the political aisle. And for me, sometimes when people like the Honorable Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu leave Parliament, yes, you can understand why after so many terms a legislator would want to leave. But they also take with them a lot of institutional memory, a lot of expertise. And you hope that they would be able to pass on some of that institutional memory, rules, expertise to the next generation of parliamentarians, because definitely I think people like him will be missed.
Would you say that he fit well into the shoes of the former majority leader who he succeeded, Felix Owusu-Ejapong?
Yes, and I also think that every majority leader brings their own approach, their own style, their own personality, their own kind of politics into the role as well. But overall, I would say that as majority leader in Parliament, he served his party well, and he also served the institution well. Not all of the decisions that may have come from Parliament as an institution would be things that maybe all Ghanaians 100% were behind. If you think about the controversy, for example, around the e-levy and how split it was. But I think overall he served the institution well and did the best he could as majority leader, especially in the last 4 years. I don't think any majority leader has faced the kind of Parliament that he faced in this most recent Parliament.
Right.
The last thing that I would say though is that the one thing as an institution that Parliament would have to think through and reflect on and ask what is it about their actions or inactions that has fueled it. Is, in the most recent, Afro barometer, the level of trust, in Parliament is at a historically low. And hopefully the majority leader would have some thoughts to share with his colleagues on how you build a stronger, more representative Parliament, in the eyes of Ghanaians.
And let's look at the other end. Now, looking at the change in leadership, guess who's in from the projections? Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the Efutu lawmaker. What do you make of him?
So he's not one person that I've followed his politics that much. But from the little that I've seen of him, there's one thing that you can also be sure of, is that he would fiercely, push the party's interest and protect the party's interest in Parliament. He's a very vocal parliamentarian. From the few parliamentary sessions that I've watched him express his opinion on issues in Parliament. But he's not one parliamentarian that I've followed his politics that closely and that deeply.
So in terms of the MPP moving forward and the aftermath of the exit of Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, what would be your forecast, your projection?
Well, as I previously said, for me, if there are any grievances surrounding his exit as majority leader, I just hope that it is those things that reconciliation can happen and happen quickly, because you don't want those things to linger on for too long. He has an important role to still play for the party. He still has an important role to play on for Dr. Bawumia's campaign in terms of putting the party's manifesto together as they prepare for a major election. And so I just hope that this decision won't be one that would continue to hang over the work that he needs to still do on behalf of the campaign and on behalf of the party manifesto committee as they gear up for the 2024 election.
Right, and what will be his legacy, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu? What will be his legacy for you? I told you I'd reserve that for getting to the end.
Yes. So, his legacy as a legislator, or as a member of Parliament. At the end of the day, he served his, he devoted 20-something years to serve his country, to serve his constituents. He did the best that he could. No leader is perfect. But for me, as I said in the beginning, what I'll always remember of him is the person who was, interested in at least ensuring that the ruling party legislative agenda was always pushed through, and also his respect for the rules of the process and the institution itself. Like I said, every so often you'd see him pull up the parliamentary standing orders or the rules of procedure to remind his colleagues. Yes, sometimes they disagreed with his interpretation, but I would always remember him for that, like bringing people back to say, can we go back to the rules? Can we look at what the standing orders say in terms of our conduct in Parliament? He's giving other speeches where he's pointed out some of the things that we can do differently. And so for me, that is what he walks away with. And I hope that whatever occasioned his exit, he would walk away holding his head up high and at least knowing that he did the best that he could for both party and country.
He will be missed. Let's put a pin in it now and take a vox that was done on the immediate past majority speaker in Parliament. Here's the vox on
the majority leader, yeah.
Yeah, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu.
In a minority leader for 4 years, I think, and a majority leader for 7 years, 2 months now. And for him to resign, we know what he can do. And anytime you go to him, he said party first. anything that will make our MPP party break the 8. That is what we have to really behind, not about any individual. So I think what he has done is the interest of the party.
In Ghana, everybody knows that Honorable Osei Kyei-Mensah has served well as a member of parliament, as a majority leader, and served well both the NDC and the MPP. Even the efforts that he had made at the parliament is good for him to resignate from the parliament house, so that the party will just carry on to break the 8.
He has resigned to save himself from disgrace. Some time ago, he was almost beaten at Swami Magazine. He couldn't perform as MP and a majority leader. I think our MP wants to concentrate on his new role in Baumia's campaign. It is good. He's sacrificing for the party.
Right, but although these opinions are, they have their opinions, I think that his efforts have earned him various positions internationally. He's still vice chair of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, is he not?
I do not know about currently, but he has chaired all of these. There are so many of them on the continent, outside, and all that. I mean, his vast experience, all the way from, mind you, he came in 1996.
Yeah.
Actually, so the election was in 1996. He started work in January 1997. Right. 1997 till now is about 27 years.
Oof.
I believe apart from Alban Bagbin, he's the,
Yeah.
So it's testament. And look, at this point, we might as well even start the conversation. Will an Alban Bagbin, with, of course, at his age, health, and everything. We've seen Peter Lajete, we've seen Professor Michael Kwe and all of that. Alban Bagbin could, if retained, he could go again for another term. But the question is, if Alban Bagbin, whenever it is that he decides to move on, would have lost the two kingpins, oak trees in Parliament.
Two omega ho-hos.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that also comes with a toll that it takes. Alban Bagbin, the likes of Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, and some others who are. Because Afenyo Market, who is even taking over from him, is nowhere close to his experience or his longevity in Parliament. Yeah. Nowhere close.
But you can also join the conversation. The phone lines are open. Share your thoughts with us. 030-221-1691. Let us know what you think about the resignation of the immediate past Speaker. Majority Leader. I don't know why I keep saying Speaker. Majority Leader. Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu.
But before we also let go of... Doc, are you still with us? Okay, I believe Doc has left us. But I just wanted us to...
Oh, he's there.
Hello, Doc.
Still here.
Right. I don't know whether you have any thoughts on that, but lest we forget, a little bird has whispered to us that Doc is also celebrating his birthday today. I don't know whether you want us to mention the the number, but...
it's a great number.
Oh, yeah. Should we be mischievous and mention it?
3, 2, 1.
Yes,
Happy 50th.
I think it's significant. So, Benjamin, for you, I would make an exception for you to mention the number.
Oh, I see. So, happy. This is the Golden Jubilee, right? Is it?
Yes, please.
Right. So happy 50th to you. And wow, you don't look 50. What's your secret?
Research methods and data analysis.
Research methods and data analysis keeps your mind sharp. We celebrate you. You've been such a great addition to the Joy family, and we're always grateful when you join us. So thank you so much, and all the best with what's happening this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, Benjamin. Thanks a lot.
Doc, thank you so much for joining. That is Dr. John Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, and of course, he is a CDT fellow. He joined us for this conversation, but now it's up to you to share your thoughts with us. We've had this, conversation on Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu. Some would call him OKMB.
Oh, OKMB.
Yeah,
That's
Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu.
That's the.
But the last time in the Vox, there was this person who was trying to be say
Is that
on the new incident. But did you see that incident where they nearly, in fact, they pelted his vehicle with sachets of,
But to be in Parliament
water,
for as long
packed
as he's
water.
been in Parliament,
Oh yeah.
I think I understand where they're coming from, especially people in Swami, in his constituency. They would expect more because that's a long time.
But that was also the point, because when the person was saying it, I said, of course, it's not that he's been like there's nothing left that he could have done. But on the other hand, he's been there so long. And you get it at a point, you become, that is also there.
Yeah.
But there are also some major things like the road construction and other things that were not happening. And people felt, whoa, what is happening? You're a majority leader and some things are not happening. And you are here and things are not going on in the constituency. So, I mean, there's no one who is spotless.
Yes.
But we have to give him his props, his flowers.
Yes.
He deserves his flowers.
He did the best he could in that capacity as a majority leader. We have Kofi on the line, though. Good morning, Kofi. Okay, we lost Kofi. So I'm saying he did the best he could in the capacity and for as long as he could. So right now, the onus falls on Apenyo Makin. He wax lyrical. I've watched Apenyo a couple of times in Parliament, and I think he's not one to shy from sharing his opinion and thoughts on such issues. So let's see how he also fits in those shoes.
I've had my disagreements with him, but let's pick our caller.
Yes, we have a caller. Reverend, good morning to you. Nicholas.
Good morning. Good morning.
Share your thoughts with us, Nicholas.
It's a wonderful morning, and congratulations to you for the good work you are doing for the country.
Thank you.
Honorable Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, an honorable man, a man of legacy. This thing that he has done, it is un-Ghanaian. It's un-Ghanaian. It's
How so?
Yes, because Ghanaian, even if the going get tough, if things are not going on, we will not resign. We will hold on to power. We will hold on to power, do everything possible to hold on to power. But this man, look, Benjamin was saying he has been in Parliament for 27 years, holding all kinds of positions in Africa and over the world. But here we are today. He said, I have resigned from majority leadership to take on another position to work for my party. And people are saying all kinds of things about him. I just heard one of the comments you took from the street. And somebody is saying he has failed and then, Ghanaians. let's appreciate this. And we were calling for the head of the president that he should resign, the finance minister should resign. It all did not. Ken Oforiatta was not performing. We all knew in Ghana he was not performing. Yet he held on to power until the president relieved him of his duty. But this man, upon all his performance, is resigning today. Kudos to Honorable Osei Kyei-Mensah. I like him. God bless you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. We still have time for a few more calls if you are minded to share them with us. 0302 211 691. What are your thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
But we are not the only ones surprised at how quickly the events turned out with this resignation. Some minority members are also saying that this came as a surprise to them.
But others, you remember when I engaged the Tamale North MP, Al-Hassan Suini, he said, they knew of things in the works. It wasn't necessarily a surprise. We have a caller from Peki.
Yes, Peki. Julius, good morning. Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
In fact, the guy is a wonderful guy.
Oh, okay.
And then we all admit that. But just that he has failed Ghanaians. The guy has truly failed us. He hasn't exhibited his true experience in Parliament as we expected. Even his constituents disagreed with him because he steals them. Now that he's going to join the new team in planning the campaign manifesto, you can just imagine. Total failure. I don't know how the other people in the country will feel about him, but the guy has truly failed Ghana. Thank you very much, Benjamin and
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts. That's someone who, he says he started well. He's a nice, but
and he said, he even said,
failed.
I like him.
Yeah.
He said he has failed Ghana.
Yeah, so, but I think that's where we ought to get to. You can like someone and still say, in fact, Charlie, you're my bro, you're my brother, you are, but Charlie, wait here.
Yeah.
You know, go well.
Yeah. The work must go on.
Yeah, the work is.
If you didn't deliver, we must give you. Okay, we have
Pepe.
Godwin from Legon. Godwin, join the conversation. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, yeah.
You see, mostly we actually think to be a statesman, okay, is based on your longevity in parliament. All right? That is not true, okay? To be a statesman, okay, you see, a member of parliament, okay, to be a member of parliament, it's not chauvinism. It's not chauvinism. And that is what goes on with all our parliamentarians. Okay, so when it comes to Osei Kyei-Mensah, to some of us who are keenly observing the political landscape, we don't really see what is going on. Okay, because that is what it is. Member of Parliament, the work of a member of Parliament, it's not chauvinism. At the end of the day, you see what happened. They've consistently supported the wrath of this government and ended up making the party ill-popular. All right? At the end of the day, he was just pushed out. Okay? He knew that definitely he would be kicked out. He was pushed out.
Well, we don't know for sure, but
just as he knew he cannot win this election in the 2024 and he has to resign and not to contest. So parliamentarians should know this. Being a member of parliament, you are a statesman. And the work of a member of parliament is not chauvinism. Don't be sitting there and be supporting everything that comes from your party.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Of course, that's his opinion. Other people will disagree, and he even uses chauvinism. I don't know.
You know, the only time I use that word is when you're describing a man who's chauvinistic.
So male chauvinism.
Male chauvinism. So I like the way he used it there. It's not chauvinism, indeed. Right. So you can we still have a couple of minutes before we wrap up. Do share your thoughts with us. The numbers are on your screens, 030-221-1691. Benjamin, what would you say, in your opinion, is his legacy? Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu's legacy?
How to unpack
Having been in Parliament for over 20 years. What would you say?
How to unpack it is the issue. In fact, you are looking at 27 years, almost 30 years. If you say over 20 years, it doesn't paint the picture very well. Almost 30 years. You can recall the times and right before Kufuor took over and maybe his role in Parliament whipping up sentiment. You can recall the times when the VAT had been proposed, was in the picture, was withdrawn and taken off from the 95 era. Then you can recall under Kufuor and what he would have done. Maybe not as prominent as he is today, but he's risen through the ranks. Of course, always some things that will hang around his neck. The e-levy, the fight in Parliament over who gets to be... Yes.
There's been a number.
I'm starting with the one in the speaker, as majority leader, among others. And there are good and bad. Let me just put it that way. Good and bad. There are times when he argued for political purposes, but he still, made his point. I feel some of what you would give him credit for, the fact that sometimes he would stand his ground and even the speaker would be irked and give it to him. You remember the I am number 3, what number are you incident and all of that. But I feel he's done his time. And I'm not necessarily looking at his role as a representative of a constituency. The people of Swami will judge him differently.
Based
that's
on
another
his
matter.
position in that
but
area.
his role in Parliament, legislative, that's what I've been focusing on. We also have Mohammed on the line.
Yes. Good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining the conversation. Share your thoughts with us.
I think Honorable Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu has been a leader who I admire most in some of the issues, but when it comes to developmental issues in the Asante region, it was very problematic. So when he resigned, I think he's foreseeing that the people of the Asante region are tired of him, and that's why he's resigning. So that's my thought of it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing those thoughts as well. And that's the man in your shot, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu. I guess we have to go now. And if you're celebrating your birthday today together with Dr. John Osei Kwapong, we celebrate you as well. Are you celebrating your birthday today?
No,
An extension of your birthday? Because I know people who celebrate their birthdays
Friday.
almost every month. Oh, but mine is actually near.
Yours is what?
Mine is actually near.
When? When is your birthday?
That's a secret.
How do you tell me yours is near and then tell me it's a secret? Tell me so we can plan a party.
You will find out. But I'll tell you one person who will be interested in that birthday.
Who's that?
Well, just guess. She hosts JoyNews Desk. Aisha Ibrahim.
Do you share birthday with
definitely
Aisha?
will be. No, but she will be interested because she's my buddy. And we do a lot of... what is it? Oh, yes.
Okay.
We are not correct like that.
Okay. Thank you, Benjamin,
We are not very
for joining
correct
us
like
on the
that.
show.
And that person, that partner in not being so correct is about to come on. And
Yes.
Join News
We need
Desk.
to vacate this place. So Aisha Ibrahim brings you JoyNews Desk at 10 sharp. My name is Benjamin Akapo.
And mine is Sweetie Abachi. I'm looking very sweet. Enjoy your weekend and
See you on
stay
Monday.
blessed.
Good job.